Hello survivors and welcome to another Walking Dead Road to Survival video, and in this video we are going to be taking a first look at Gold Mythic Reggie, who is going to be coming to RTS as an Ultra Token Will recruit. Now visually we've never seen a Reggie before, but he looks actually pretty cool on the right hand side, kind of in his workshop gear. He was in the middle of carving out something, you know, chilling out, and then yeah, the zombie apocalypse occurred. He's not too happy about it, but it does look like he's pretty, efficient with that pistol on the left-hand side. He doesn't have an attached weapon by the looks of things, so this weapon on the left-hand side we'll probably see come into the game. It is a really cool-looking pistol, actually. I really like the kind of the visuals, especially the little bayonet on a pistol just looks ridiculous. But other than that, you know, it's pretty cool. Pretty efficient, like I said. As you can see, the walkers in front of him have been dispatched, and he is blowing out the smoke on the pistol. As you can see, there is a little bit of an animation, kind of cool. If we look at the stats, at level 1,600, limit break 3, he has got a measly 6,550 attack, 28,073 defense, but 58,953 HP. He is going to be an alert character, of course, holding that pistol. He's going to be of the medic role, of course, a gold mythic, and he's going to be joining the Armory Allegiance. So moving across to Reggie's Adrenaline Rush, you can see it is called Conviction. It has got a recharge rate of 66 AP. Deal 15% of this fighter's max HP as damage to a line of enemies, or to all enemies while battling on the defense team. All adjacent teammates get 150% defense for 2 turns and a Guardian Shield. So this is actually pretty good. He is a medic. He's not doing any healing here. So many medics just don't heal. It's kind of weird. But he is doing a lot of damage. And it's 15% of this fighter's max HP. His base HP is 60k. It's going to get scaled up very, very high. And don't forget, he's going to do this to all enemies on an attack team if he's on a defense team, which is generally where he's going to be used. All adjacent teammates getting 150% defense is nice. And a Guardian Shield is very annoying. Obviously, to remove Guardian Shields, you have to attack them or use Splash. But Splash isn't really that heavily used at the moment, especially we're in a deal damage meta, and deal damage can't splash at all. So, yeah, it is problematic. It will slow down attacks quite a lot. It is quite a costly Adrenaline Rush. It is 66 AP, but my guess he's got some sort of potential to, you know, get AP quicker in his kit. Generally, that's how it works. But that's how it works when it comes to his kit. It's strange that it has an on attack and on defense kind of side of things, but yeah, we'll check out later in the video. Maybe he can get such crazy high HP that 15% of his HP is still so high when attacking defense team characters, but I don't see that being the case. But let's just test this out anyway. Okay, so we do have the Adrenaline Rush of Reggie up here. He has got 115,000 HP as it stands. If you have a better defense leader, give him more HP, you mod him, you have a better weapon, maybe have other characters in the same line of him buffing his HP, I think he should be able to get up to 150k plus, and then 15% of that would be somewhere in the region of like 22.5k plus, you know? And against an attack team character, that'll be pretty, you know, brutal, especially as he's doing it against the entire team, and it is his max HP, not current HP. But as things stand, he'll probably hit for like 17k, I think it will be. You know, 115k, 15% of that. We'll do it against the bottom line, and he hits for 17.3. Even against an attack team is pretty, you know, damaging. It's just really strange. Like I say, that why wouldn't they just keep it as all characters rather than it just being, you know, a line on an attack team? It's not like you can really cheese this too much. But it is what it is. It doesn't matter. I think the majority of people would probably just use him on defense anyhow. And you just want to get his HP up extremely high if you want to do more damage with this Adrenaline Rush. Now, we have had Guardian Shields be applied to adjacent teammates. It doesn't apply to Reggie himself, it appears. But they also get 150% defense. But that is it. As you can see, Wayland on the other side has not got any of these buffs. So he will not get the boost unless he is adjacent to Reggie. So his positioning will be quite important. Now when looking at the upgrades, you can see at grade 2 it gets plus 5% max HP damage. So it goes from 10% of his max HP as damage to a line or to all enemies, up to 15% of his max HP as damage instead. At grade 4, it gets an upgrade where all adjacent teammates get 150% defense for 2 turns. At limit break 1, it gets an upgrade where it does damage to all enemies while he is battling on the defense team. Then at limit break 3, it gets an upgrade where all adjacent teammates get a guardian shield as well. It is, like I said, only adjacent teammates. He is not a leader, so he will not be in the leader slot. He'll be on the side. So he'll always give it to the leader, but there'll be another character that you have to decide who is sitting next to him. And generally, it's going to be the character that you want to protect. I wouldn't say this Adrenaline Rush is crazy. His damage is okay. The buff and the Guardian Shield are okay, but it is only adjacent, and it doesn't even land on Reggie himself. Generally speaking, though, defense team characters are all about 2 things: signature moves and passives, and this is because signature moves are more likely to go off turn 1, obviously, generally speaking, and then passives are just intrinsic in their kit. Adrenaline Rushes aren't always able to go off. This is just how it is on defense teams. So a lot of the time, the Adrenaline Rush isn't crazy powerful, so the other parts of the kit are. That's how it has been in the Mythic era for quite a while now. But this Adrenaline Rush is not overwhelming in any way. It is pretty underwhelming. It's pretty basic. But if he do get his HP up very high, that damage could be pretty good. You know, it depends on the teammates you've got with him, how high his HP can get. Pretty much as simple as that. Now, to check out another part of his kit, we will check out the signature move of Reggie, and it is called Call for Backup. It has got an initial cooldown at turn 1, cooldown at 2 turns, number of uses unlimited, revive 2 teammates with 50% of their max HP, all adjacent teammates get 75% halo for 2 turns. This fighter gets elusive for the rest of combat. Now, you might notice that his specialist skill will mean that it's very hard to stop him, almost impossible to stop him doing this signature move if he needs to do it. So on turn 1, he should always do this. If there are 2 characters down that he can revive, he will pick them up. Even if his entire team gets nuked, he should be fine, and he should be able to pick up 2 teammates. They'll obviously have their turn, take their sig moves, maybe revive themselves, so on and so forth. The entire team could be back up. If he is taken out and he's picked up and he can do his signature move, it's a very short cooldown. He'll be instantly able to do it, and he'll have a revive train as well. So this isn't too bad, especially considering that specialist skill is invincible, so he can't be targeted in any way off of turn 1. This does mean that your weaker characters that potentially are taken out easier on defense should have someone who's obviously going to pick them straight back up. You just got to make sure they're not decapped in any way, or heal reduction, obviously based on synergy, how that's going to work, whether it be like teammates stopping that from happening, or if you want to go with combat mods to kind of stop that potential. But yeah, the Reggie signature move looks pretty decent, and it'll be frustrating. As basic as it looks, you can't obviously target him on turn 1, so he's always going to get this off. Okay, so here we are attacking again, and as you'll see, if I do the defend action on the attack team, I will go to invincible, and I can't be targeted. When you attack a character on a defense team, they are automatically invincible status no matter what. So now, effectively, I'm the defense team. I'll defend on my other characters. This defense team will attack me as if they're the attack team, because now they're going to go first. So they're going to do their attacks first. And you're going to see 2 of my characters get taken out. And you notice that Maggie didn't do an attack. She could have just attacked, but she couldn't because Reggie here couldn't be targeted because of invincible. That's going to be how it's going to work when he's on a defense team. But he can also take his turn 1 signature move, which is effectively now, and then he can pick up the 2 characters that have been taken out, and they would potentially get Halo in this case, as you can see. It can happen to the characters that get picked up because the Halo comes in afterwards, and that is pretty good. They start off with 50% of their max HP. Don't forget they would get a percentage of that as well because of his passive, as he is a medic, so they'll get a little bit of bonus HP, but otherwise not too bad. Almost guaranteed pickups. Like I say, you want to have him adjacent to people who are weak because of the Guardian Shields for his Adrenaline Rush, but also now because they're going to get taken out more likely, he's got more chance of picking them back up as well. And if you saw my video on Gold Mythic Herschel, Prisoner Herschel, I did actually say in that he could be a sneaky pick for a defense team, and him being positioned next to Reggie increases his survivability and obviously pickup potential really, really well to get that first turn signature move off, to get the pairs off, so on and so forth, could be really nice indeed. Obviously, any other character will work too, but this is really nice for someone who you want to protect in some sort of way. If we look at the upgrades, you can see at grade 3, he gets +1 revive teammate. So initially it's just 1 revive, then it goes up to 2. At grade 3, that's nice and easy. And then at grade 5, it's -1 to starting cooldown. Nice and early. So the potential of this character being usable, even at a low grade, looks actually pretty decent. Like a grade 5, 2 copies, not too bad. Then at limit break 2, he gets an upgrade where all adjacent teammates get Halo for 2 turns. And this can happen to the characters that got revived, as was proven in the previous clip. The 2 characters that were adjacent to him did get revived, and then they got their Halo afterwards. Now, if they were on the other side and they got revived, they would not get the Halo, but the teammates next to him would if they were alive. So the Halo is always going to go down to the adjacents, and the revives will just prioritize either the 2 people down or just randomly anyone who's down if there's more than 2. So it's pretty much as simple as that. The signature move is okay. I think it's mainly the fact that it's actually going to occur 100% of the time. It's guaranteed to always happen because of that special skill. Is where it's very interesting indeed. It will come down to the passives to see how super powerful this character is, because like I say, at the moment, most people look at medics and they think they're underwhelming. They make things last longer. Basically, defenses are harder and slower to take out, and this one is a guarantee that he's always going to pick up 2 characters if they're taken out, which a lot of the time is, a lot of characters get taken out turn 1 because there's a lot of nukers on attack teams. It's pretty much as simple as that. Now, as we move on to the passives, I will say that this is where it definitely comes together for Reggie. His mythic abilities are very strong. First up, he has Spirit, where 20% of all healing performed by this fighter also granted as bonus HP. At the moment, that is pretty much just the revive. He doesn't do any other healing. Just the revive is going to give a bit of bonus HP. It happens with some medics for whatever reason. I think there was a Garrett that had no heals at all. It was pretty ridiculous. And the next one's no going back, or not going back, should I say. When being attacked, reflect 200% of the damage. This is only going to work on damage dealt. So for instance, if he is hit by someone who does an attack-based adrenaline rush, attack-based signature move, or a basic attack. It's pretty much as simple as that. Deal damage will not actually, make this occur. The next one is resist arrest. At the start of each turn, get 100% normalize and stun resistance for 2 turns. This is obviously just nice to protect his specialist skill. If there's anyone who can maybe do normalize before the fight in terms of the order of operations, it's never going to occur unless there may be a control character, but I don't think there's even a control character that does before the fight. I think it's pretty much just Herschel, and Herschel is a damage roll, so it's not going to work. Stun resistance is also nice, just means that he can't get stunned. It's generally going to be off of turn 2 after the invincible is worn off, but it does mean he gets an extra turn of potential when it comes to that. This is where the big problems come in when it comes to Reggie, not just for him, but also the teammates that he could potentially be teamed up with. It's the last passive. It is called Desperate Grit. Reduce rush damage taken by all teammates by 50%, plus 50% for this fighter as well. So the way I'm reading this is it's going to work exactly like Regina's passive, where it will reduce all damage by 50% taken on the adrenaline rush. It doesn't matter how that damage is taken, whether it's by attacks or deal damage. That is one of the few ways a Regina team could be kind of targeted. But now Reggie on a Regina team should be able to reduce deal damage by 50% on adrenaline rushes. Signature moves is going to be pretty much the only way, and then there'll be another defense team character coming out doing the same thing. By the way I'm reading this, it says plus 50% for this fighter. I do think that just means Reggie also gets 50%. I don't think that means Reggie gets 100% because it stacks with the original 50%. We can test it out, but I'm pretty sure he'll still take damage from adrenaline rushes. But the way it should work when it comes to stacking with Regina's is it should be 50% plus 50% of 50%. So it should be a 75% reduction effectively if you're attacked by an attack-based adrenaline rush, so someone who hits multi-hits. I can try and test that out. It will be pretty difficult. I'll have to probably do 2 kind of clips, but we'll see. I think I can test it out with that new prisoner Rick because he has quite a heavy multi-hit adrenaline rush. And we'll see how the reduction works there. But I don't think it will go up to 100% reduction like I think most people would probably think it would. And that again would be because it's not the same type of buff. The rush reduction from this passive, plus let's say someone had a weapon that had adrenaline rush reduction as well. Those would stack together to make it 100% reduction. But a lot of these are the attack-based reduction on weapons. It will only multiply together to get a higher buff. But I can test it. Let's have a look. Okay, so first I'll test it out with just Regina in the defense team, giving the reduction, no Reggie. And we'll just look at the numbers that Rick is hitting for. And he is hitting for 35, 30, and this is on crits, 30, 26. Okay, now we'll test it out with Reggie. So before we were hitting crits for 35k, and we did hit a low of 26k. We'll still take out one of the characters, but now we're hitting for 22k, and the other number hitting for is much lower. So the crits are not hitting as hard, for sure. So it does look, like I said, it's probably going to be a 75% reduction on multi-hit adrenaline rushes. Obviously, if they had higher defenses, it'll be even lower, damage taken. I will just test out when it comes to him taking damage from Herschel's adrenaline rush. Now, I'll do this initiative here. Now, it would normally hit Reggie, but it couldn't hit Reggie there because Reggie was invincible. And now I'll hit him with an adrenaline rush. I think this is just going to be a 50% reduction. If you saw my previous clips on how Herschel worked, he was hitting people for like 1 to 2 million damage. Crazy numbers. I expect this to go down to something along the lines of like 200 to 300k. If it is doing a 50% reduction, Herschel is actually kind of crazy. He has got a 200% attack buff versus a 500%, so it might be a little bit lower. We aren't actually going to take him out. We only did 43k damage. It is a big reduction. That it is 50%. I don't know. Maybe it's stacking with something else. It's definitely not 100%, obviously, because he would absolute defend it. And he can absolute defend deal damage if you have 100% damage reduction. But, I mean, that's crazy. Could it be that heavier reduction? 50%? I mean, maybe. But it's a lot. And his survivability is very high. But not just him. All the teammates that he's going to have are going to have that 50% reduction in adrenaline rush damage from Herschel, from any other character as well. And of course, if you do manage to nuke Reggie reasonably early on in the fight, that reduction buff will still last even when he's taken out, because that's how passives work. I think it was back when William was a character and he had the AP gain passive. You could try and nuke him turn 1 to stop that from happening, but he still gave AP out even though he was taken out. That's pretty much how it works. If we look at the upgrades here, you can see at grade 1, he's got the first half of not going back. When being attacked, to reflect 100% of the damage. Grade 2, he'll get a first half of Spirit, where 10% of all healing performed by this fighter also grants his bonus HP. That is only going to work with the revive so far, unless you have maybe an alert healing weapon on him, then it would work with that. And then at grade 3, he gets the second half of not going back. When being attacked, reflect 100% of the damage, again making it 200% total. Then at grade 4, at the start of each turn, get 50% normalized and stun resistance for 2 turns. And then at grade 5, Desperate Grip comes in, part 1, reduce rush damage taken by all teammates by 50% plus 25% for this fighter. Maybe it is multiplicative. Maybe it multiplies together for him. That's why it was such a good reduction. So it might be 50% plus 50%, which would be 75%. So he might be getting a 75% reduction. And then it would be 50% reduction from Regina's on multi-hits plus 75% of 50%. So it would go up to like, it'll go up to over 75%. It'll be like 85 plus. So he'll still take damage, but he'll still always reduce. Like, that was a massive reduction. I was thinking like 200k he would still get hit for, but it isn't going to be the case. Moving on to limit breaks, you can see as Spirit 2 comes in at limit break 1, making it 20% total of all healing performed by this fighter, also granted as bonus HP. And limit break 2, resist arrest 2 comes in at the start of each turn, get 100% normalized and stun resistance for 2 turns. That's mainly going to be good for turn 2 when it comes to the stun resistance, because the turn 1, obviously he's invincible, he can't be targeted in any sort of way. Then at limit break 3, Desperate Grit 2 comes in, reduce rush damage taken by all teammates by 50%, plus a further 25% for this fighter, making it 50% total. But it seems like they stack together in some way, otherwise they wouldn't split it up by 25 and 25. And he did seem to take maybe a bit more damage reduction than I would have been assuming. It's going to be very hard to kind of test that out. I think... I don't really know how you could test that out. I'm not really sure. I mean, the damage reduction he's got on him is pretty good. Like I said, he tanked a pretty heavy Adrenaline Rush, 1,500% with a 200% attack buff. I don't think he had a debilitating on him, so that might have made the difference there. But, yeah, I mean, still, that's pretty crazy damage reduction. And that was him without him being all buffed up and everything. No teammates with the you know, there was no bonus HP on him either. So, yeah, I mean, yeah, it's actually kind of nuts to think about it. But his passives are good for sure, particularly Desperate Grit. That is pretty much what brings everything together in his kit. And his synergy with pretty much any defense team is good. Armory he'll be good for, because he'll be able to get armory buffs from the other characters. He doesn't do anything armory in his kit, but that means he can obviously be used in other teams absolutely freely. And I think the team up with Regina seems kind of obvious. Like, just the stacking is just... It just makes it more to think of, more damage reduction. You're going to have crazy numbers on your damage. And you're going to have to set things up perfectly. Otherwise, it's just going to be too much. Way too much. Now, we have been touching on it a little bit during this video. He has obviously got the specialist skill Invincible, and I'll just read straight through it because it's quite a long one. At the start of combat, while battling on the defensive team, this fighter cannot be targeted, like you saw in one of the previous clips. Take any damage or status effects on the first turn of combat. When performing the defend action, achieve this Invincible status again. It has a 2-turn cooldown. At the start of combat on the offensive team, this fighter can achieve this Invincible status immediately by performing the defend action. This is the second Invincible character. The other one was Carl, and I will say they're both defense team characters. I'm not sure why there's this whole on attack team sort of thing, but it doesn't make any difference. It is very powerful, can't be attacked, can't be controlled in any way. I think they can sometimes take certain types of splash damage or like taunted damage. I think Carl has a taunt, and his taunt bypasses his own Invincible, but that's because he's the one who's taunting. I think it's the taunt. But splash damage doesn't work. Targeted damage doesn't work. As you saw with Reggie, he didn't take any damage from that line rush, or line signature, should I say, that I did with Herschel. And then on turn 2, if you had those teammates available to be revived, he would pick them up. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of crosshairs everywhere, so you've got to be aware of that. But that's pretty much how Invincible works, and how Reggie should be able to get some characters picked up if they are taken out turn 1 because of that signature move. Now, Reggie has got no attached weapon. I'm not really sure what his weapon could be like. It is visually very nice, but I'm not really sure what kind of weapon you'd want to use in his hands, honestly. Maybe one of the reduction weapons in his hands would be good, because it would stack with Regina. If you were going to use him in Regina team, then he would start absolute defending. He wouldn't do it against deal damage, but he'll still have significant reduction against deal damage characters, as you saw. I think characters like Ruben will really struggle against Reggie. I think, like I showed, Herschel has a much higher damage potential than Ruben because of the massive attack buff that he has, but he didn't hit very hard at all compared to how we were seeing in previous clips. And I will say that you have to set it up perfectly to get the best out of Herschel now. I did see some people complaining that he was a cutthroat. I think he'll be reasonably happy that he is now, because I think that's going to be the only ways you can really deal with Reggie, is to slowly get him down and try and nuke him with someone as heavy hitting as Herschel. And it's gonna be a struggle. It's gonna be a struggle for sure. Defense, HP, the obvious ones, the 3rd and 4th slots. That's where the kind of like creativity has to come in. So this was Gold Mythic Reggie, a first-time character in RTS, part of the Armory group. I'm not sure if he's officially part of the Armory group. I'm sure there's some lore masters when it comes to The Walking Dead gonna be able to tell me if he's actually and officially a member of that group or not. But that's, like I say, Reggie. He's coming to the game as an Ultra Token will recruit. Do tell me your thoughts on Reggie in the comments down below. I want to thank you very much for tuning in. And as always, keep on surviving, guys. Keep on surviving.